We also discussed about, how we can deal with the situations where there is no payment involved when we raise a credit note when for an open invoice. I told you that you can settle directly that open invoice to the credit note, and both of them will get settled automatically, making the vendor balance to become zero. I think that would be all the scenarios that we have in accounts payable module. And if there were any that we would get uh, maybe in line, that I'll explain you. So according to our course content, so it's a vast content for accounts payable module. I think we have completed all of them except the inquiries and reports and AP parameters concepts, which we are going to discuss today. So how is it going? Are you guys practicing accounts payable module? All of you? How is the
Yeah.
practice?
Exactly.
So how is the practice? Slow, dull, active enough? Are you getting the fair results? Are you facing any issues? Are you trying to apply the logic or blindly practicing?
Trying to apply the logic.
You're applying the logic from the finance side, right? All of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, SCP.
Okay, stressed
Correct.
more on the vouchers and the accounts and the amounts calculated. So it's very important as a functional finance functional consultant to understand all these things. Maybe not in interview they might deeply ask these questions, but further when you are in a project, you have should have these analytical skills and logical skills to apply how the system is working and how the solution is being, or how the result is being achieved. You have to understand that. So that's okay. So today we will discuss about the various inquiries and reports we have in accounts payable module, and we'll see these different menus and how this works and all. Okay. Uh, to discuss about the inquiries and reports, I'll navigate you to accounts payable module. So in every module, we have this menu called as inquiries and reports. I'll just minimize all of them or collapse all of them here. So here also in accounts payable, we have inquiries and reports. So in inquiries and reports, we have certain inquiries here, or as well as reports too. Here, all of these are reports only. And we have certain other reports specific to vendors, specific to purchase orders, specific to invoices, and specific to payments. So we have both inquiries and reports as well within this, out of which there were certain very important reports where I will stress more on them, like this vendor aging report, vendor transactions report. No, it's not so important, but vendor aging report, yes, and vendor transactions report is also important. So we'll see what we have. So we have some report called as product receipt. So let us click on this. It should be an inquiry actually here in the inquiries and reports. I just click on product receipt. I believe it should show me the inquiry of all the product receipts that have been posted until now in our system. You can see them. So this is the list of product receipts I can see. Here you can see the invoice account, which means the vendor account, and the purchase order number, and the list of product receipts here, and when you have received them. So this should be the delivery date of the goods, right? So whenever you post product receipt, that usually be the delivery date of the goods. So these are the product receipt that you have posted until now. And if you have a product receipt number to track, you can just filter it here and you can track. So it's more or less shows up like a product receipt journal. So when you go to a purchase order, suppose if you want to check the posted product receipt, so you go to the menu, right, where you see one journal or one product receipt or two product receipts posted for that PO. But here you see all the list of product receipts that are posted for this, for different POs. And you can see all the other details like print preview, vouchers, and accounting and charges and all. So if I click here, the most important is this vouchers. You can see the voucher posted for this product receipt. So yeah, like 1,05,000 is the voucher we have. Mostly charge. So you can see view charges, it will show as empty. But there is one parameter that aids or wherein if we enable that parameter, the charges can also be included into the purchase product receipt amount, or during the product receipt only those charges can be posted. So I'll show you that parameter while we discuss about the accounts payable parameters. So you can also enable that parameter and work on later or test something. So view distributions and view accounting is nothing but if you have done some distributions or accounting distributions that the balance has to be transferred to any other account or any other financial dimension combination, then you can do it in the purchase order itself. You can do the account distributions actually. Accordingly, it will show. See here, all the balance is transferred to a single ledger account only. It should be the accrued purchase account, isn't it? No, it's a 6 series. It's a raw material receipts account or the inventory account. Here you have the same, I think. So for line 1 and for line 2, for both of them, it's raw material receipts account EIC in this place. To which this is being transferred. So actually you can give a specific account, or you can also distribute the balances between two different financial dimensions, like 50% to one dimension, 50% to another dimension within the account. So that you can do in purchase order actually in the per line level or also in the header level. So if you do it, then you can see the distributed amounts being distributed in a single voucher for finance. When the financial impacts will be into in a single voucher, it will post into two different financial dimensions for the same account. The percentage amount will get divided if you would divide it there. And you can see the history here. And so history of this is like it's posted at some date. And if at all there were any corrections, you can see the compare versions option. If there is a correction for the product receipt posted, if you have corrected it or cancelled it and regenerated it and all, you can see. So there were no many corrections. It's the single product receipt only. There's not unchanged change type. No, you don't see any changes here. So that's all about this one. The product receipt inquiry just shows the list of product receipts posted for all the purchase orders. So you can also filter it by purchase order. For one purchase order, then can be multiple receipts. As you can see here, purchase order number 4 2 times, receipt number 65 and 65 by 2. So there can be multiple receipts for a PO. So you can also filter it by PO here. You can filter the with PO number, or you can also filter it with the vendor account. So for one vendor, if you want to see all the goods that you have received or the good receipt numbers or the number of product receipts that you have received from one vendor, you can also filter this by the vendor. Other than this, we have vendor aging report. So this one report generally shows up the vendor balances according to the bucket. So it shows up the vendor balances that are being aged or the due dates falling into which particular bucket according to the monthly basis. Suppose it shows the balances that has to be paid or the due date for the invoices that are coming in this month, the next month, that the other month. So it will show up the accordingly. So it is taking a while to load the report actually. It's a very good report that we have in accounts payable. See here, it asks me aging as of which date. I'll say aging as of 31st of October, just to show you. So criteria, do you want to select the criteria or the transactions according to the transaction date or due date or document date? Transaction date means the date when you posted the transaction. Document date means invoice date. See, invoice date can be any date, but if I posted it, so that would be the transaction date. If I give the invoice date as 1st of October, but I posted the transaction on 3rd of October, I can do that in that way. Then transaction date would be 3rd of October, document date or the invoice date would be 1st of October. So document date here represents the invoice date. Or you can also select the criteria as due date. Due date means whenever that invoice is falling due, in which month the invoice is falling due, according to that month, it will categorize the balances. Or so according on the monthly basis, it will show in which month how much due balances are there to paid, or it will also show the invoices list as well. and you select this one, due date criteria. Mostly they'll run it with due date criteria. If not, you can select transaction date. It shows the uh, list of invoices that were posted according to the month. How much balance is posted in which month according to the monthly phases, it shows like that according transactions. But if you select due date means, so the invoices that are falling due into that particular month on the monthly basis, it will show. So it will divide it into buckets like September, October, November, December, like that. So accordingly it will show. I'll show you that too. Then aging period definition, I can say. So this is one aging period definition where you can customize the buckets. Normally, if I would select here like month and one, so it generally categorizes or list out these invoices on monthly basis. But I can also define a specific aging period definition like for 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, like that. So that here also I can give if I want to give that pattern, like here I can give interval as 10 and here I can give days. 10 days it will show, for every 10 days it will show the aging balances or the invoices falling due for each 10 days. But if you want to configure it or customize your aging buckets, like first one is for 10 days, other one is for next 20 days, other one is for next 40 days, like that, you can customize by creating this aging period definition, which would generally be created in credit and collections module. I'll show you during accounts receivable module how to create aging period definition. For now, we'll just use this criteria of 1 month, or just you can also give 30 days, or you can also give 2 months. You just give interval as 2 and you can select it as month. And you can give printing direction as forward direction or backward direction. I'll show you how it looks like forward and backward. And include details, yes. Include amounts in transaction currency as well, yes. Negative balance, yes, you can also use negative balances. Exclude zero balance accounts means for the vendor accounts which does not have any balance, I mean for which all the transactions are settled, we will exclude those vendor accounts because we don't want such transactions, right, which were already settled. We want the list of transactions which are open and we are due to pay. So those only that we want. So we can say this one. Payment positioning, yes, you can say this payment positioning means if there are open payment transactions also, those also will come up, but payment transactions will show in the top and invoice transaction will show next to them. So in case if you have any open payment transactions, so I'll also enable this one. Let's see. Destination, if I want to print the report, it will print on screen, or I can change the destination to be printed into an Excel or any other feed here directly. Like I can select file and I can select a Excel file format. Excel here, Microsoft Excel, or I can print on screen and later I can select whatever format I want to export it. It's my wish. Records to include, do you want to run it for a specific vendor or a specific vendor group? You can select or filter it. So that report will bring the data only related to that vendor or that vendor group. You can also run it in the background, like in the batch job. So it will not hinder your task. It will automatically run in the background and that will be saved in the print archive automatically. From there you can download it. Or if you don't run in the batch job and if you want to run in the screen, it will automatically run on the screen and display the report on the screen itself. So I'll first run the report. Once the report gets generated, I'll explain again everything in detail. It's loading. It's loading. Here the report is generated, and you can see that transactions categorized on the basis of due date. See, it's for the vendor one. First, you can see the transactions for vendor one. See, payment positioning, I told you, right? We enabled that parameter, payment positioning, the last parameter, which means all the payment transactions are coming into the top here. So payment transaction doesn't really come up with any due date, so ignore this due date for payment transactions. But you can see the invoices here, which are open and which are falling due. So according to this column, balance as of 31st October 2021, this is the balance pending on the invoice and due before this date, 1st of October 2021. I don't see anything due in before 1st of October 2021. All these are fresh invoices only, which are raised in October. So you can see the dates here in October. And here you can see the list of invoices that are falling due in this particular month itself, from 1st of October to 31st of October. You can see within 1 month bucket, you can see. And you can see the due dates also. Here you see due dates 15th, 15th, 15th. So all are due in this month only, mostly. So this one is also having due date. But you see this invoice, which is having due date in November. 15th of November is the due date for this invoice, and these invoices which are here, all of them are of 15th of November. So for that, you can see the due date balance is falling into 15th of November. Here, 15th of November. So for December, again, you see a bucket for December, and for first of this one, 1st January 2022 to 31st January 2022, you don't see anything. And due for 31st January 2022, due after. If you don't pay anything, it will be due after that also, right? So it will just show it here as due after balances. So this is actually the payments only it is showing. Normally this until here 15, and these are the payment transactions only. So no need to look into the payment transaction generally. You can just look into the invoices here. So most of these invoices are falling due in September, and few are October, and few are falling in November. And you can see the total balance getting due in October. So you have to pay total of 73,000 in October month, and you have to pay 62,557 in the November month. So this is what your accounts payable balances look like. So you should be careful enough to arrange this money to pay to the vendors in the specific due dates. So which due dates you can see in the left hand side. We have run this report on the basis of due dates, right? So these are falling due in these particular dates that were mentioned here in the left hand side. So due date is the equation. So this is how this report looks like. If I go down, I can see it for the other vendor. This is second vendor. For the second vendor, Sahara, I have a lot of invoices. So again, this is the due dates, and this is the balance in accounting and transaction currency, since all of them are US dollar only. If there is a different transaction currency or a foreign currency invoice, the amount in transaction currency will show up separately, and accounting currency column will show up separately. Since it's US dollar only for all of them, so it shows up in single column itself. And in this, all these invoices are falling due in November month. Here you can see November, most of them, and few of them are falling due in January 2022. So you can see in October month, you don't see any balances that you have to pay. But in November month, you have certain due invoices that you have to pay here until here. And in December, you don't have any. But in January, I think you have some, or after January, within this month. Is this? So actually it is in, I think this is in 1st of February, 1st of March, 1st of April, and 1st of May. It is actually a, what would say, single invoice only. It's broken into multiple parts, like scheduled, EMIs falling due, right? So we have broken this invoice or applied some payment schedule, I think, on this invoice. So that is why it is showing payment amounts. Invoice number 21 does have same invoice falling due on 1st of February, March, April, and May, equal amounts of 5,000, 5,000, and so on. Here you can see. So this is actually showing two balances, 1000 and 1000, because in accounting currency as well as in transaction currency, both of them are US dollar, right? So it shows for single transaction only, it is showing two amounts, one in transaction currency and one in accounting currency. So total due, as you can't see it here in this page, you can just click on next page here, here, next page. It will show in the next page here. So this is the total due for the second vendor totally. So you can also see for 1st June, September, sorry, July and August also you have, so which are falling due on after 31st. So you can only have 6 buckets actually. This is the limitation for this report. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 buckets only. So actually in my company that I worked on for a client, so they normally required more than 6 buckets, but this report doesn't really show more than 6 buckets. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 buckets only. So but they wanted some around 10 to 12 buckets to show up in this report, but this report's compatibility does not support more than 6 buckets. So they have customized again another report specific to them. It's same look like this report only, but it will support more buckets rather than the 6 buckets. It will support until 12 buckets, or it will show balance for all the 12 months starting from whenever you run the report from. So for the next 12 months, it will show the due balance. It's like that. So this is how it looks like, and you can see the total balance of these vendors. This vendor number 2, which has to be paid with total due balance, which has to be paid, and out of which has to be paid in uh, November month. It is showing up here, which has to be paid after 31st of January. Like we have certain other dates, right? Like September, October, no, sorry, February, March, April, like that. So all that consolidated invoice amount is 35,000, which was broken into 5,000s of 7 periods, I think. So which contains in November you have to pay 81.79% of the total due. 100% due is here, right? Of which 81.79% you have to pay in this month. 81.21% you have to pay after this month or after this date. So for vendor number 3, I think we don't have anything for vendor number 3. See, you don't see anything. So here the total amount, I think there is one due, right? This one, Tata 21. So this is for vendor number 3, 2 invoices, I think. I think this is in foreign currency as well as in reporting currency. See, it's 262.47 US dollar according to accounting currency. But this is a foreign vendor, right? INR is the foreign currency for this company. So transaction currency in INR, it is showing 20,000 INR here. So that's how it is showing up in both accounting currency and foreign currency. It's total 20,000 due they have. The total or 267.47 is the US dollar due, which is 100%, and all of them has to be paid in October month itself. You can see 100% has to be paid in October month itself. And this is a grand total for all the vendors combinedly, whatever is there in this report. This is how much due you have to pay to your vendors, out of which in October month you have to pay this much, like 22% of the payables. In November month, 68% of the payables, and in the after 31st of January, you have to pay 9% of your total payables. It's a very good report and a descriptive report explaining everything about your accounts payables, how much you have to pay, when you have to pay accordingly. Clear for everyone, this report? Seshu.
Yes, bro.
Okay. So it all depends on the criteria that you give while you run the report. So all these details will be appearing accordingly, and positioning will be done. Normally they'll ignore the payment transactions that you have paid, because for payment transactions or advanced payment transactions, generally they don't have any advanced transaction. They'll settle it with one or the other invoice. But here, since we did not settle, they are showing up as open payment transactions. If you do not settle also, it will show up here. Let us assume something. So I'll tell you. See, we are running this report for 10th of October 31. Okay, suppose that we are in November month. We have settled some of the invoices already. Right, in November month we have settled some of the invoices, But if you come back and run, or if you run the report for the date criteria of 31st October, again these invoices will show up here, because by the time that you are running the report or the date criteria that you have given the report for generating the report, so those invoices were not settled at that date. So that is why they will still show up as open invoices in the report. But if you run the report according to today's date or that particular day's date, so the invoices that were settled already until that date will not appear in this report again, because you're running the report for due date, right? So there weren't any invoices that will be due, or the settled invoices that were not again due will not show up in the report if you select the due date as the criteria. If you don't select due date as criteria, again all the invoices will show up. Transaction date or invoice date, if you select, then it will show up. So I'll also run that again, no problem. I'll try that for you to run it again with transaction date criteria this time. Here, vendor aging report. Just run it with. So earlier we ran it with due date, right? Now we'll run it with the transaction date. Transaction date means the date on which the invoices was posted, or you can select document date. Document date means the exact invoice date that we give. So whenever we are posting any PO invoices or non-PO invoices, we have a field of invoice date. So that is what we call as document date. So we can run this according to the document date also. Then I'll just click on OK. So that printing forward backward parameter is there, right? So that is what, if we print forward means it will show October, November, December like that, right here in the buckets. So if you print backward means it will show this October in the last and November next to it like that. So it will show in reverse. So this will come this side, this will come this side like that. If we run backward payment positioning means. So this is a report, again the same vendor aging report, but it will show the invoices according to the document date. So this invoice was posted on, so this invoice date was this 7th of September 2021. But this is falling due when it is falling due, it is falling due in after 31st of January 2022. Or I think this is a payment transaction. I'm sorry for that. So let's go with this invoice. Yeah, this invoice was posted on 4th of October 2021, which is falling due in this month, October month itself. So you don't know the due date. So you have run this report according to the invoice date. So this is an invoice date, but you don't know the due date when it is getting due here. But if you run the report according to due date, you will see the due date here. So this is just the dates of invoices. So the date which is given by the vendor on the invoice, that is called as document date, and that is what we give when you are posting an invoice. So accordingly, we can see in which particular bucket or period they are falling due, but you can't see the due date because you have run this report according to the invoice date. That's all. So you can also see we have given the criteria like months, right? So that is why it is showing as months here. So if you have any payments schedules like weekly, so you can run this report on weekly basis for the next 6 weeks like that. So if I go here to vendor aging report again, I'll just give the due date here, not the document date once again. So you can change this interval to 7 and you can change it to day. So for every 7 days, it will create a bucket, like 6 buckets, it will create 6 into 7, like 42 days, it will create a bucket. Just run this as well. So if you give such criteria, it will show a weekly report. So it will show the amount getting due in that particular week or that has to be paid in that week. See here. This is from 31st of, we have run the report criteria as 31st of October, right? So from 31st of October to 6th of November, 1 week. From 7th of November to 13th of November, another week. 3rd week, 4th week. So totally it is showing 6 buckets. So 4 weeks only it is showing. This is before this particular date and after this particular last date it is showing. So most of them are falling due in. Few of them are falling due in this week from 31st of October to 6th of November, 1 week. So in this week there are no payments to be made. In this week there are a lot of payments to be made from 14th of November to 20th of November. We have to pay almost 62,000 of payments. So after crossing the due dates, actually, I mean, after November 27, 2011, we have this much. So the limitation is that it only have 6 buckets. If you want the other week's report, again, you have to change the criteria and run the report for the other weeks. Just give the criteria, next criteria starting from 2711 you can give here. Balance as of 2711 will show up, and the next buckets according to the weekly basis will show up in the report. Okay, why I'm stressing more on this report is because this is a very important report, and they might ask you in an interview this question: what does a vendor raising report does? And you want to understand you have to understand the structure of this report. Try it once, try with different criteria and see how the information is being generated. Let me know. Or you can also Google about vendor aging report. It will also give you more details even if you have. So, clear guys for all of you, vendor aging report? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So mostly like in any accounts payable or receivable process, generally you can take this report and try to understand how much you have to pay on weekly basis, as well as you can also run the customer aging report, how much customers have to pay in one particular month. So when you compare it, you can understand how much we are receiving in this month and how much we have to pay. And if there is any shortage of funds, you have to maintain your liquid or capital or some amount, liquid amount to reach that disparity amount between payable and receivable. And if you're receiving excess receivable, then it's well and good. You can meet your payments with that receivable. You know that most of us are from accounts payable and receivable background. You might be knowing that. So that's of. Then other than that report, vendor transactions report is one I have. So here I can run the transactions report. Exchange rates, you can say if it's a foreign currency, you can say adjustment rate or invoice date. Adjustment date is nothing but I mean the same. You can give invoice date. Include reverse transactions also, yes. Include closed transactions, open transactions are both open and closed transactions. See, if you run open only means it will bring only the open transactions that are settled will not show up in the report. But if you bring all the open and closed means it will bring all the transactions. Settlement details, yes, we need settlement details. Do you want to run this specifically for one vendor? You can give one vendor here, or you can also give a group of vendors also in this filter. You can do that. So when I run this report, it will run the report of transactions that are there for all the vendors. So I'll just run this one. See here, this is for vendor one. I can see all the transactions. So here in this. So you can also see the voucher numbers on the other side, and you can see the transactions and descriptions and amounts. So if they are settled already, you can see the settlement voucher on the other side. So to which transaction they are settled to. This check reversal one is settled to vendor payment 5. So it should be here. Vendor payment 5 is here. So which is here settled with this one, and again against vendor payment 5. You can see check reversal 1 because this is settled to check reversal 1, right? So against this, you can see that transaction like that. Against an invoice also, you can see a payment transaction. If a invoice is settled with a payment, here you can see number 10 is settled with this particular voucher. And you can also navigate to a voucher from here. Suppose this is an invoice, right? Invoice for 2 cycles. If you click on this, it will automatically take you to that voucher related to this invoice. See here, this is the invoice voucher. Again, if you go back, it will take you back to the report. So in this report, you can just select any voucher, click on it, and it will take you to that voucher automatically in Dynamics. So this is the list of transactions we have for different vendors in Dynamics. You can export it in any format you want. Here you can see the format, so you can zoom it. You can find anything in it like a search option, or you can also go to the next page or to the last page by clicking here, or you can also give as page number. Go to page number 4 directly. This is the last page. It's only for 2 pages, as you can see, page 2 of 2. So this is how it generally shows the list of transactions for the vendors. And other than this, we have another report called history by transaction report. It will be a very big report. Generally, this report, history by transaction report, shows up according to the main account. Main account, you can select any main account. Accounts payable account, if I would select. Not main accounts only, totals per account only, no. Records to include, no. I just selected accounts payable account here and I'll run this report. Let's see what we have. History by transaction report. Should be a very big report. See here, I can see each transaction separately wherever the accounts payable account was impacted. So I can see this transaction number 1 for my vendor Maruti Suzuki, and you can see the vendor balance, posting type, advance payment of 1000 for this account, single account. Again for this transaction where again accounts payable account is getting affected, and you can see vendor payment number 2, and it's for 1200. In the same way, wherever accounts payable account is involved, you can see all those transactions related to that account, and most of them will be categorized according to the vendor first. See, under Maruti Suzuki, wherever accounts payable account is affected, you can see them, all of them. If not, you can also run this report in another way. Like you can run it according to the prepayment account as well. So if there are any prepayments made, prepayments involved for any vendor transaction, then it will show up automatically. So prepaid expense, this is the one we used, I think, in the prepayment posting profile. Let's run this one. So here you can see this prepayment account is used for Sahara 2 times somewhere. So you can see the transactions categorized according to that particular main account. Other than that, what else we have? Under vendor reports, I can see account statement of the vendor. So it generally shows the list of transactions again for the vendor in a different way. On top 100 vendors, you can see it shows the list of vendors according to the turnover. Here, top 100 vendors, it will categorize all the 100 vendors up according to the turnover or the business that you have done with the vendor. And this one shows the vendor balance list. You can see this one, vendor balance list, where you can check the amount of balance pending for the vendors. Okay, I'll just run this report. Starting from date, it is saying, and from January 1st to report period start date, also January 1st to date. I'll run it until 31st of October. Vendor balance list accordingly. Sort by vendor only. Okay, criteria is no criteria. I don't select any criteria. So include details, yes. And let's run this report. So it will bring the list of balances pending for the vendors. Maruti Suzuki. So main account is actually the accounts payable account only. You might have different posting profiles, right? But here we only have single posting profile. He's here. It is showing 2 accounts because on prepayment posting profile there is a this much of balance on, and on main account, I mean accounts payable account, there is this much of balance indeed. So debits and credits it shows. Total debit for this accounts payable account is this much, total credit is this much. So this is in accounting currency and this should be in reporting currency usually. And there is a difference or closing balance of 130 which we have to pay. Credit balance is excess and payments were low and invoice amount was more, so that is showing on credit. So there is a closing balance of this much. This is the vendor balance. So it's like a vendor trail balance, as you can say. So you have to pay this much of balance to the vendor. Coming to the second one, see there is a prepayment account and there is also accounts payable account. The prepayment account was both debited and credited for 1000. So the total or closing balance is 0. But for accounts payable account, payments were this much, invoices payment was this much. Credit means invoice amount, debit means payment amount or credit note amount. So there is a closing balance of this much which you have to pay to the vendor. This is the existing vendor balance now. And for vendor 3, you have to pay 262.47 US dollars. And on a total, you can see this much. This is the total accounts payable amount that is pending for the vendors. And you can see that if I would go duplicate this tab, just show you that that's matching or not in the trial balance. Come on. So general ledger, trial balance, starting from 1st of January 21 to this month end, right? We have run that report until this month end, on October 31st. So only main account, calculate balances. To series accounts payable account, see the closing balance, 3,22,859.47. Go to the report and see the total balance, 3,22,859.47. Exactly matching to the accounts payable account trial balance. And this is a report with total balances that has to be paid on the basis of each vendor here. So this is how the vendor balance list report shows. Clear, guys, for all of you? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Then, other than this balance report, we can see vendor to ledger reconciliation report, which is more important, and you also see vendor invoice turnover report. So this generally shows the amount of turnover you have done or the vendor invoices that you have done to one particular vendor or set of vendors. So according to the account number only, starting from date January 1st, or you can give any date for 1 month also you can give within October how much, what is the invoice turnover, you can select that one as well until date 31st. So I'm selecting total 10 months. So minimum amount it is asking, I don't want any minimum amount. Amount excluding sales tax, no, I want all the amount including sales tax. You can give filters like for one vendor if you want to run or for one country or region in case if you're selecting tax number normally. I can select this, run this report in Word. So as you can see, it's a very small report. And for Maruti Suzuki, we have done this much amount of invoices. For Sahara, this much amount of trade, and with Tata Motors, this much amount of trade. So total invoice amount is this much for all these 3 vendors. If we have 50 vendors, all 50 will show up, and it is the grand total for all the invoice turnover amount. So again, you can also export it in any format you want, PDF or Excel or Word, anything. Okay. Other than this, we'll go for this one, vendor to ledger reconciliation. This is one of the important report. So it generally reconciles the balances from vendor to ledger. So we'll see how it shows up like. I'll start this reconciliation from January 1st. Okay. No need of voucher number. I'll give posting profile of general until October 31st. Okay, to date, and the same posting profile here. Include details, yes. Differences only means it will show the transactions or the balances that are not matching from general ledger to vendor, or if there are any differences, it will show the differences only. If not, it doesn't. So this report is generally vendor to ledger reconciliation, means vendor balances to Ledger means accounts payable account or some other account will be there, right? Since I have selected general here, it shows the accounts payable account, or it takes into consideration to accounts payable account. Whatever transactions I have done for the vendor, which include general posting profile, and that should match with the transaction that I posted for the accounts payable account or the vouchers posted for accounts payable account in the general ledger. So if there are any differences, this report will identify. So I'm not selecting differences only, I'm selecting all of them. Let's come back and run for differences only later. So I'll just run this report. So here you can see this is for main account, accounts payable account. See 2 lakhs account, which is accounts payable. And you can see the transactions that are being posted on different dates. So according to the dates, you can see transactions for different vendors. So this is the transaction check reversal. Vendor balance got credited with 1400, as well as automatically the ledger balance also got affected. The accounts payable balance also got affected here. See, in the same manner, for every transaction that you do for the vendor, automatically the other and the ledger balance also getting affected. In case if it does not get affected, or if there is any issue, and it will show up the difference here. Or if it is credited, vendor balance created for 1400, but ledger balance only created for 1300, that will definitely not happen. But there can be some technical issues or using different posting profiles in situations. So you can have this. Normally the settlement vouchers will get posted, right? So that will automatically clear off all the differences. If there are any such differences compared from accounts payable transactions to the vouchers posted in general ledger, you can identify in this report. So the total difference and you can see is 0 only. You don't see any differences for the transactions that you have posted until now from starting from 1st of January to 31st of October. No, all of them are posted accurately into general ledger, into this account, accounts payable account. So if somebody reported that there is a difference between their accounts payable balance and the vendor balances, then you can run this report and identify where the difference is. Or if you run there, you did not select that criteria difference only, right? So you can see all the transactions. But if at all you have run that report, I'll show you once again. Vendor to ledger reconciliation, which has to show differences only. The criteria is there, which has to show differences only. If I would run it, it will show specifically if there are any transactions that are having different amounts compared from accounts payable to general ledger. Here it doesn't show any because there are no differences, right? So it says no data available, which means there are no differences at all compared from accounts payable to accounts payable module to accounts payable main account in the general ledger. Okay. So if somebody reports any complaint in support, or some of the client side user will ask that there is a difference in this, you can run this report and check where the difference was or which transaction was involved in the report, and you can thereby go and track the transaction and the history of the transaction, who posted it, when they posted it, why it is showing difference, and all you can track by that. That's all. So this is a vendor's report. I'm not sure what this report shows. I think it should show the list of vendors. Let's see what this report of vendors show. Or report by, I mean, it will show details of the vendor, I think, name and address, contact number. Mostly I'm guessing so. Just the basic details of the vendor. Yes, it's so. So it is showing the name of the vendor and the address of the vendor. And in case if there are any default terms of payments, price groups and all, discount groups and all, it will show those details. See, for this vendor, it shows the address here in the first line as well as the details involved. And then default terms of payment was net 30 days and currency was US dollar. And these details, if you have given any cash discount codes on sales tax group and all, by default, it will show all those details also by default. Here also the same, vendor number 3. and it show the default details for the vendor. So this details it will extract from the vendor master data. There we will give right default details for the vendors. So from there it will automatically extract the data and prepare this kind of report, vendor details report. This is also one good report if you want to export the details of the vendor. Then other than this, you have purchase order reports. You can see these details as well. Ledger postings for purchase orders. You can see what are the transactions that you posted on purchase orders normally. Starting from 1st January 2, you can see this one. And you can click on all. So according to purchase order, I think it will show, it will categorize the transactions, whatever that are included with the purchase order. Low battery. Let me plug in my charger. Yeah, here you can see this account involved, and then where is this purchase order, which is the main thing. This account involved is this one, right? Cost of material purchase received. Yes, and how much it is being affected, you can see here. So in product receipt, this account got affected with 2000, and in invoice, this account got reversed in for 2000. See, debited and credited. So in product receipt, it is debited, and vendor invoice, it is created. This one, the inventory received account. But where is this link to purchase order? Journal number I can see here. Ledger posting for purchase orders. It's not giving the details of purchase order, but it is showing all the details of the transactions that are posted for purchase order, and the accounts getting affected. Another page. Will it show another account? No, the same account. Yeah, accounts payable account it is showing here. So this account got affected. Like in vendor invoices only, it will get affected, right? Accounts payable account normally comes into place in invoiced only, not in product receipt. So you can see during invoices only, this account is being credited. So most of the times when you do invoices, it will credit until and unless it is a credit note. So here you can see, but here you can see 2000 getting debited here. I think this should be the credit note transaction. This one for here posted on 20th, which means day before yesterday. Yes, this is the credit note. Day before yesterday, we worked on credit note only, right? That's what is showing in the debit balance. Some kind of report that is shows the transactions by account that are posted for purchase orders only. So that's what. Other than this, I think we have another report. Purchase agreement certification. Most of them are into again supply chain only. This is one report for ledger postings. Other than this, we have invoice history and matching details, approval journal history and matching details, invoice journal. So let's see this one, invoice history and matching details. So it's just an inquiry, not a report, and you can see invoices numbers and when it was posted and who posted it, date and time of posting. You can see who created it, and admin it is showing because I am the one who did it, right, with admin ID. So that is why it is showing here as so. And you can see the lines involved in that particular invoice here in the bottom. Here, and you can also see the inventory details as well as the matching details for this invoice. If you click here, it will directly take you to the matching details page, I think. It's a credit note. -2 quantity I have. Yeah, directly took me to that particular invoice matching details place. You know this place, right? Where we have checked this matching of prices, quantity, totals and charges and all. So there it took me automatically. If I click on this matching details for the invoice, you can see all the list of invoices here, and you can also directly navigate to matching details of that invoice from here. If you click on this, what is this concept invoice? Let's see what it will take you to. It take me to the invoice journal itself, which will be our next topic to discuss. So I can see that here invoice journal, this one. So if I click on this invoice journal, it is also an inquiry under invoices. So it shows me the list of invoices that are posted until now in Dynamics in vendor accounts payable. See, it shows the invoice account, which is the vendor account, as well as it shows the purchase order number in case if they are purchase order invoices. If they are not purchase order invoices, or if they are normally even non-PO invoices or invoice journals, you can see no purchase order here. So this is a invoice journal, which includes a vendor account and expense account. And rest all are PO invoices, as you can see purchase order. So you can see the invoice number also here and the other details like invoice amount and voucher number and when due date of the invoice you can see here. And invoice date also I think you can see somewhere here the invoice date. Yeah. If you want to see the purchase categorized by purchase order number 5, suppose how many invoices if you want to see track. So just copy this purchase order number here actually, and if you want to see it, you can just give it here and you can see for purchase order number 5 there are two invoices, invoice 66 by 1 and 66 by 2. And in this invoice, if you want to see the lines, you can use this option lines here. And if you want to see the remittance payment, so this is the remittance location actually where you have to pay, but we did not pay it again, I think at tag. So this is the lines you can see, and this is the overview. And if you want to see the voucher, you can see here. If you want to print it, you can here. And if you want to see the charges that are there for this invoice, you can see here. Let's see, there are no charges, right? So once after posting invoice also, you can make adjustments. If there are no charges also, you can include that, but you can do it from here only, invoice journal menu. Suppose for this invoice 66 by 1, I want to adjust some charges. See here, I click on charges and I click on adjustment here. So if I click on adjustment, I can post that charge or include that charge to this invoice directly. It's taking a while to load. See here, it is asking me which charge code you want to apply on this invoice. So I want to apply the insurance inventory only. Why it is showing only one code? I think then I can give a fixed charge value of 100. Then is this the only code is that's for third party vendor? Let's see. It's into a ledger account. Credit type is not included into vendor. Okay, but it's debiting onto the. But I'm selecting the credit as a third party one, right? So okay. Let's see. So I can give some amount here, $100 of charge. And allocate the charge to all lines. It is asking if there are multiple lines in the purchase order or in the invoice. So you can say only positive lines or only negative lines. Positive lines means the lines with positive quantity, negative lines mean the lines with negative quantity, like credit note lines like that. And you can just see it. And you can just click on OK, so that charges will get posted now for the invoice or gets adjusted for the invoice. See, for this I can now see charges and charges. Still I can't see these charges. Why? Or let me go for voucher. If they are adjusted within the voucher, I guess so they will not get included. Or I can go for trial balance and run this for trial balance, calculate balances. Again, so there is an account, right? 2,09,000. This is the credit account there. Let me go to all transactions for this account. Let's see if it is posted. No, it's not posted actually. Yeah, it is posted. You can see here. On today's date, $100 is being credited to the insurance payable account. If you want to see the voucher for that, which is posted on today's date, you can see finished goods inventory is being added with 100 and insurance payable account is being credited with 100. But actually in this version, there is a bug for this. Whenever you add such kind of charges, right? Normally when I click on original document, it should show the purchase order number and invoice number to which these particular charges are included to. So when I click here original document, it should show here, but it's not showing, right? So this bug is fixed in the very latest version. 10.0.21 is the very latest version. There you can see the original document showing up or the invoice showing up. Normally it should show up. While I was working in support, in Microsoft support, one customer raised this concern that whenever they are doing charges adjustment, it's not showing the original document, and they were unable to track to which particular invoice they have made these adjustments to. So that's why they have raised that concern, and then I have escalated it to Microsoft product team and they fixed it. And in 10.0.21, when the very latest version that currently being worked, so they fixed it. And now whenever you make any such adjustment in that latest version, and if you click on original document, you can see that invoice for which you have made such charges adjustments transaction to. Generally see this invoice number 61 here in the original document. Yep. Okay, remember this. So it's a bug. If it doesn't show up what it exactly has to show up, or if it's not working according to the expectation or normally according to how it has to work, it's considered as a bug. And if it is a valid bug, generally Microsoft product team will consider the bug and they will fix it in the next version that they're going to release. And if it is a critical bug, they will also fix it then itself, and they will also backport it for previous versions. Like this version number is 10.0.8, I think. So let me see somewhere. I should see about here. So it is 10.0.8, 8.0. Yeah. Now it's 10.0.21. So there were a lot of updates. So normally Microsoft will fix that bugs in the next version or the upcoming versions. Mostly they will give expectations to customers like we will fix it in the next version or the next version. But if it is a critical issue and Microsoft also considered it that it has to be fixed immediately, they will fix immediately on. They'll backport that bug to the previous versions also, like 19, 18, 16, like that. They will backport. Remember this one as well. And other than this, what else we have? The reports. We have vendor invoice journal report, wherein you can see the non-PO invoice journal report, and vendor invoice transactions report. You can see the transactions that are involved in the vendor invoice. Vendor invoice is not approved report is something like if you have used workflow for invoices, the invoices that are submitted but not approved will be here. Other than this, we have accrued purchases excluding sales tax report. See, this one is important report. This report generally shows up the details of all those goods that we have received but not invoiced it. So we post product receipt, right? But until we do invoice, they will be under accrued entry, right? Once we do invoice, that accrued purchase entry will get reversed. Product receipt will get reversed. So it will show up. This report will show up the list of goods that you have received but not invoiced. Suppose if I click on this, I think we don't have any such purchase order. So cutoff date as of today's date, I'll take of this date only I can take. Display items, accruing receipt liability, yes. Go to OK. Wherever there is any product receipt that was not reversed yet, which means if original invoice is not posted yet, that transactions or that goods you can see here in this report. See this for this cycle, think purchase order number 10, 8 quantity received on so and so date, but you did not do invoice for this. Is it true? See, we have two POs, one for purchase order number 10 and purchase order number 16. Let's go and see the list of purchase orders in accounts payable. All purchase orders. Okay, you can see here, these are the items and each item is related to these POs. And you have received these many which were not invoiced yet, and you have received them on this particular date. Okay. Come on, it's taking some time to load all POs. So the PO should be in received status or at least partially received so that it will show up here. So PO number 10 it was showing, right? This is PO number 10. You can see this is received but not invoiced. PO number 16 it is showing right here, PO number 16 which is received but not invoiced. So these are the two details or the product details of those two purchase orders which were received but not invoiced are showing up in this report. Okay, accrued purchases means the one that are posted in product received but not invoiced. Clear guys, this report for all of you. So this is also one important report wherein they can track the goods that they have received and it not invoiced yet, so that they will speed up the invoicing process, or they might ask the vendors to send the invoices. In case the vendor forget to send, or if the invoice was lost somewhere while the vendor was sending, so like that, you can cross check those details and you can see if you might have missed posting invoice. Sometimes you have received the invoice from vendor, but you might miss posting invoice. So you can cross check what are the pending goods that has to be invoiced and you can invoice them accordingly, or you can speed up the process of invoicing. So this is one report as so. Other than this, you have payment reports like promissory note journals, and when you can see vendor posted payment journal report, how many payments that you have made to the vendors, and details you can see here in this vendor posted payment journal report. This one is the only one important report I think from the payment side. You can run it for specific vendor, or you can run it for specific check number. Vendor criteria also will appear, or you can run it for specific batch number. I'll just run it for whole, no filter at all the payment transactions, it will show up here in this report. Here you can see a report like for payment report. So this is one payment transaction journal number, paid for vendor 1, and you can see vendor payment number 1, voucher number, advance payment is the description, and you paid 1000. And this is the detailed transaction. Next, yeah, if you have settled it against any invoice, you can see that invoice details also. See, this 1000 is settled with invoice number 1 here, MS invoice 1, which is for 1000 amount, or which is for 2000 amount originally, but you partially settled this 1000 payment to this invoice. So you can see that here, that invoice number. If you do not settle it with any invoice, you don't see that invoice. If for all that it is showing invoice, normally those payments are paid against those invoices. Here check number 102. Vendor payment number 002 for 1200 is paid against this invoice 2000, and it's settled with this 1000 amount. I think this is a single invoice. This 1000 amount is settled to this invoice for out, and the pending 1000 amount on the invoice is settled with this 1200 amount, out of which 200 will be pending again in this payment. 1000 is settled to this invoice. In the same way, you can see this one 1500 is settled here, settled and undo settled. So you can see history of this transaction, this payment transaction being settled to this invoice, and also a settlement is undone. So you can see it 2 times here. And if there is no invoice involved, you can see them straightly here. These are all just payment transactions that are still open. Check number 106, 107, which are not settled with any invoices. So you don't see the invoices behind them or beneath them. It's just the list of all the payments that you have made to the vendors. So that would be all, I think, regarding the reports. These are the main reports we have mostly used. So if they want any other reports, they can customize reports as they wish. So it allows, or Dynamics allows the reports to be customized. But these details are detailed, right? I mean, you can see all the accurate data. Or whatever data you post be in the any module, it will be generally saved in specific tables. And these reports are will be associated to those tables, and it will extract the data from those tables and present you as you wish. So these are quite some good detailed reports provided by Dynamics, or standard reports within the module provided by Dynamics. So it's also famous for it. I hope you got good idea about the reports here, and we are left over with only one topic, accounts payable parameters, which we will discuss in our next class. Most probably not tomorrow. I'll let you know if there can be possibility of class on Sunday. If not, we'll meet on Monday. Mostly I'll try to make it on Sunday if possible. On Saturday tomorrow I have some work to do, and that wouldn't be possible. And do practice these reports too as well. Just try to export all of them and see what is there in that report, all the reports. Try to explore them. Okay, you will get good knowledge if you explore them. For interview sake, they might ask you this vendor aging report, vendor to ledger reconciliation report, and the top 100 vendors report, like that. Do we have such feasibility and all? You can say yes, we have such reports. But in the sake of clients, or if in an implementation project, client might ask you, do we have such reports and all in accounts payable, or is it compatible with such reports and all? You can say yes, we have such standard reports which will be helpful for you for tracking balances. See, recording transactions and posting transaction settlements is one part, but at the end, what the stakeholders or the main managers need is the results, and their results they want it in a specific reports, and these are the various reports that would show up on this aging reports and all. Also they will help for the users to track the payable amount, how much payable amount in which month and all, like that. Okay, and invoice turnover reports and invoice reports also will be helpful to identify how many invoices are posted until now, what is the amount and all. So try to practice these reports as well, and in the next class we'll meet up to discuss on parameters. So that would be all, guys. I'll just stop the recording until